Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive, where we like to take complex topics, uh, really dive deep into some source material, and try to cut through the noise, get to the heart of the matter, you know. And today we're tackling a big one, right? Education. What does it even mean to be educated in a world where we see so much, greed and conflict,
Mhm.
a lack of empathy?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because we have so much education available, you would think we'd be better at solving some of these, problems.
Yeah, exactly. We have these amazing articles and videos, even a LinkedIn post we're going to look at today. And we're going to see how some people think about education from ancient systems,
Yeah.
to some ideas from Elon Musk.
Yeah, and the timing is really relevant too, right? We're seeing a lot of changes in, the way that things are taught, the way that people are learning.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So what are the articles we have really challenges, like how effective is our education system today? Is all this emphasis on rote memorization and exams, is that really helping, or is it hindering, the things we really need to be learning, those essential life skills?
And the author of this article, Ninupta Srinath, had some pretty interesting thoughts. She points out that it really does seem like we're focused on cramming information, into people's heads instead of teaching them to think critically, solve problems, make ethical decisions, all those really important
I
things.
see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have this YouTube video from Norizama, and he is really passionate. He criticizes the whole education system. He says, we're producing these, amazing doctors, engineers, but they lack basic manners,
Mhm.
compassion. They're like, we're creating robots, with all these great credentials, but where's the humanity?
It's true. And that brings up a big question, doesn't it? Like, what is the point of education? Is it just to get a good job, or should it also be teaching us how to be good people, how to deal with, complex relationships and these big issues we're facing in society?
Yeah. It's like that famous quote from Nelson Mandela, right? A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Like, are we forgetting about the heart when we're so focused on, academic success?
It's a really important point. And this kind of leads us to this other source, which is fascinating. This ancient Indian Gurukul system of education, totally different from our modern system, right? I mean, this is a holistic system where the students lived with their teachers, they learned academics, of course, but also practical life skills, ethics, values.
Wow. So different from our world today, right?
Yeah.
Everyone rushing to these, tuition centers, these crash courses, all this pressure to just get the best grades. It's really interesting to imagine, an education that actually combines, the academic side with character development,
Mhm.
community engagement, really teaching empathy.
It's a really powerful vision, right? Because the Gurukul system wasn't just about knowledge. It was about making you a good person, a well-rounded person who was ready to contribute to the community.
Now, what's even more interesting is that, Elon Musk, the guy who's like all about technology, even he seems to get this.
Yeah.
He started his own school called Ad Astra. They don't even have grades. It's all about problem solving, hands-on learning, tailoring the education to each student.
It's really interesting because he doesn't just want to teach them information faster or more efficiently. He wants them to understand why they're learning something, to explore their passions and develop skills that actually help them solve real-world problems.
It's like he's trying to give them the sense of purpose, right? Like they can actually go out and make a difference.
Yeah. And this ties back into our big question, right? How can education prepare us not just for jobs, but to be active, compassionate citizens who can solve these problems that we're all facing?
So this leads to another question, like, could Musk's model, which right now is just for a small group of people, could that be scaled up to work for everyone? What are the benefits and challenges, of changing education so dramatically?
One thing that really struck me, going through these sources was that it seems like modern education is missing something really important. That deep understanding of, how connected we all are, that we have a responsibility to each other.
Yeah. It's like we've put education in a box,
Yeah.
focused on individual success and making money. And we've forgotten about, the social ethical side of things, the stuff that really makes a society work.
Right. And this one LinkedIn article by Ahsan Urman Muhammad really dives into this. They talk about the need for a shift in values.
Yeah.
We need to be more open-minded, move away from just thinking about profit all the time and really commit to lifelong learning.
I love that idea of lifelong learning. It's like education shouldn't just stop when you graduate, right? It's about staying curious, wanting to learn new things your whole life.
Exactly. And Rahman also talks about, being patient when you're teaching others, being willing to share what you know without expecting anything in return. It's that idea that education isn't just for you, it's for everyone.
It makes you think, right? Maybe that's part of the reason why we see so much, greed and conflict and apathy, because we've forgotten that we're all in this together. You know,
Hmm.
what if we started to think about education as a way to build not just individual success, but a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
commitment to the common good?
And this other source had this really disturbing statistic. It said that at least one student in India commits suicide every hour. And a lot of times it's because of the pressure of these competitive exams,
Yeah.
you know?
It's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
This system that's supposed to help us is actually hurting some people so badly. It's like we're prioritizing performance over, mental and emotional health.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, how can we create an education system that values those things too? Compassion, empathy, a sense of belonging.
It seems like we need to really rethink our priorities. Challenge this idea that success is all about grades and money.
Absolutely. We need to make space for values, ethics, emotional intelligence.
One thing that a few of the sources talked about was empowering local communities to take charge of their own education systems. What if teachers had more autonomy? Parents were more involved and the curriculum was really tailored to the needs of each community.
It's a really interesting idea, right? Because the one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work for everyone. If you give communities more control, they can create a much more, vibrant learning environment.
And we can't forget about technology, right? I mean, Elon Musk, he talks about using video games to make education more engaging.
That's a cool idea. What if learning felt more like an adventure and less like a chore?
Yeah. If you can tap into that natural curiosity that kids have,
Hmm.
the possibilities are endless.
Exactly. It's about showing them that learning can be fun. It doesn't have to be all textbooks and lectures.
But if we really want to, prepare people for this complex world, teach them how to deal with things like greed and conflict, shouldn't we also be teaching them how to think critically?
Absolutely. That's such an important skill. And it's often overlooked.
Yeah.
We need to teach people how to question assumptions, challenge the status quo, think for themselves.
It's about giving them the tools to be informed, engaged citizens, right?
Yeah. And maybe as we continue this conversation, we can explore how to build those critical thinking skills into a more holistic system of education, one that nurtures both the head and the heart.
That's a great idea. It seems like we really need to move beyond just, knowledge and skills.
Yeah.
We need an education system that teaches people how to think ethically, how to be compassionate, how to be human beings.
Yeah.
As we've been talking about all this, I keep thinking about, like, what's the point of education? What are we trying to do here? Is it just to get a job, or is there something bigger?
It's a question people have been asking forever, right?
Yeah.
And, looking at these sources, one idea that keeps coming up is that education can actually change society.
Yeah.
Like what if instead of just fitting into the system, it gave people the power to make things better, to fight injustice, create a more fair and sustainable world.
That's a powerful idea, right? Like, education could be a force for good. It reminds me of that Mandela quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world."
Exactly. It shows you how much potential education has, right? If we give people the knowledge, the skills, and also like a moral compass, they can really make a difference.
Yeah. And a lot of the sources talked about how important it is to teach things like critical thinking, problem solving, ethical decision making.
Hmm.
It's not enough to just know stuff. You have to be able to use that knowledge to analyze things, look at different perspectives, and make good choices.
And there was this one article that really got to me. It was talking about how education should also help you grow as a person, like help you understand yourself better, develop your talents, find your purpose in life.
Yeah, it's like nurturing the whole person, right?
Yeah.
Not just filling their head with facts,
Yeah.
but helping them become, well-rounded individuals who can live fulfilling lives and contribute to the world.
Yeah. It goes back to that idea of, a truly educated person isn't just someone who knows a lot. They're someone who's self-aware, compassionate, and they have a sense of purpose that goes beyond just themselves.
Right. It's like understanding that we're all connected. Our well-being depends on each other and on the planet. Maybe if we understood that better, we wouldn't be so focused on just ourselves, which leads to, greed and conflict and apathy.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into education, we're left with this really big question. If education is supposed to empower us to create a better world, shouldn't we be changing how we do things? What if we took a more holistic approach, one that focuses on both the mind and the heart, one that prepares people not just for exams, but for a life of purpose and compassion and making a real difference?
That's a great question to leave everyone with. We hope you'll keep thinking about these ideas and how you can apply them to your own life and how you can help shape a better future. Remember, education is powerful. It can change not just our own lives, but the whole world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep those minds curious and those hearts open to the possibilities